With another season just on the horizon, today I have the SypherPK style video that I have completely taken over because Sypher does not make these videos anymore. Today, I am presenting you with everything that Epic needs to do in Fortnite Chapter 2 OG. I'm going to talk about everything that the game needs to do, especially because there's a couple things that we could learn from OG Fortnite that we could do to make this season the best season that it could possibly be, because I do believe that Chapter 2 is peak Fortnite, and I do believe that this has the potential, not saying it'll happen, but it certainly has the potential to overtake OG Chapter 1. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. Guys, I'm going to go through just a list of things that I have over here in no particular order, but the only thing is, I do have one thing that the players need to do, so stay tuned for that. Regardless, let's talk about the map changes, because of course, we know that this is going to be seasons 1, 2, and 3. I know that some people some people think otherwise, but right now it seems like the most logical thing to assume is going to happen because of the way the roadmap's built out. I'm not here to argue about that. I'm just going to pretend or assume that this is what Epic Games is going to be doing, seasons 1, 2, and 3, okay? Let's talk about the map, because the map is obviously one of the most important factors. So what they need to do is they need to start off this map with the map changes right away. I don't want it to go seasons 1, then seasons 2, then season 3. I don't want that, because if you guys remember, Chapter 2 Season 1, as much as I personally loved it, it had one of the most boring maps in Fortnite history. Everybody was sick and tired of it after just a few weeks of playing that map. Chapter 2 Season 2 and Chapter 2 Season 3 had infinitely better maps, infinitely better POIs. So and we'll talk a little bit more about the flood, so they don't necessarily need to do this, but at the very, very least, they need to have the Chapter 2 Season 2 POIs on the map, ready to go right from the beginning. I don't need to go through like what OG Chapter 1 did, where it's like, okay, we have some weapons from Season 5, then Season 6, then Season 7. There was so much more content there. Chapter 2 Season 1 had the harpoon gun, and again, as much as I personally loved that season, that's not gonna go well. They need to start off with a bang. They need to start off with those map changes and perhaps end with the flood. I personally be okay with them just having some like Fortilla type POI and maybe a couple other things flooded here and there. Like Pleasant Park was awesome with water. I'll die on that hill. One of the best versions of Pleasant Park there ever was. But again, you'll see what I'm talking about, because we're going to talk a little bit more about the flood right now. Actually, this might be a little bit of wishful thinking for me, but I don't think it's completely impossible. Sorry to put a quick pause on everything, guys. What I'm about to speak about is the live event, and I recorded that video before we actually got news about the live events that are coming. It is important to note that everything that I'm about to mention still stands, because I'm personally worried that we're only getting live events right now. Sorry, we're only getting live events right now because Epic Games is so tied in with Disney right now. You remember the last season was absolutely perfect. So I'm still not confident that because we're getting these events as of right now, this will be what Epic does moving forward. That's just important to note, because again, I'm about to speak about live events, and we just got big announcements for 3 live events. Throughout Chapter 5, and at the time of recording this video, we have not had a mini event in Season 4 yet, but it is leaked that there is a mini event in the works. There's a mini event that's going to happen this season, and there is 2 that's in the works. Could be for the end of Chapter 5 Season 4. I'm getting things mixed up now. And there could be one leading into or during OG Chapter 2. What I think would be best is, because one of the greatest things about Chapter 2 Season 2, or Chapter 2 in general, were those live events. Obviously, we can't get those live events. Well, we're going to get one at the end of Chapter 2, but I think it'd be awesome if Epic Games actually brought in a mini event. And what better mini event would there be than to actually see the flood happen? That would be perfect. If you want to go from like Season 1 to Season 2 to Season 3, this might get in the way to the storyline just a little bit, but I think it would be just phenomenal if we could see like everything working in real time. We get to see what Midas is doing with the device, and then all of a sudden, we don't necessarily need to see that cutscene because we don't need to see the device. We just see something else that's happening there. We see the flood as a mini event, and that leads us into our map changes for Season 3. I think that is one of the greatest opportunities that Epic Games has right now to make OG Fortnite or Chapter 2 one of the greatest season they could possibly make, because everybody loved the flood. In general, everybody loved Chapter 2 Season 3. Of course, there are exceptions for you watching the video. You might not like it, but the vast majority of people did. To see that flood, to participate in that flood, and to kind of be on the other end of something that we didn't get to see that was so beloved, would be incredible. It would be even better if they brought back the water storm for a little bit, because if you remember, we only got to play with that for a couple days. If Epic Games wants to capture that magic of Chapter 2, they need to do things like that. They need to make it special a little bit, man. But let's skip out on the flood a little bit, because we do have more to talk about regarding events, but I want to talk about just bosses, mythics, and vaults in general. Another huge part about Chapter 2, both in Seasons 2 and Season 3. Of course, I'm focusing on Season 2 and 3 because that was the majority of the content in the first 3 seasons of Chapter 2, but they need to be at their peak glory. I don't want to see a nerfed version of the mythics. I don't want to see nerfs coming through the season. I want Sky's AR to be busted. I want TNT's bow to not be slow. I want the mythics as they are, and I want Midas to be drum gunning people out of the air. I don't want an adjusted version of Chapter 2. If we're going back to Chapter 2, I want to feel like I'm in Chapter 2. I want Midas to be beaming people from the air out of the agency. I want Tiantina to be spawning in different spots and having fun finding her, and then finally achieving that bow. I want to fight with my teammates to go get Sky's AR, because that's one of the most busted things in the entire game. I want Sky's AR to continue just lasering through builds. There's nothing you can do about it. Same with Brutus's minigun. I want all of the vaults, mythics, and bosses to be untouched. I want them as they were, because that was one of the most fun things that we've ever played with. Did people get upset about Midas? Yes, but this is the Chapter 2 experience. There are so many people that haven't had the chance to experience this, and I don't want to be dropped into another season where you have these mythics, and mythics when they were at their best, when they were hard to find, when there were only one in the game, and you had a reason for getting that mythic. It was so powerful. I don't want them nerfed, and I don't want them not even worth using. What's the point of landing at the rig if I can't go get TNT's bow because it's nerfed? Or I don't want to kill my motivation to not even bother with one of my favorite weapons ever. Not even just me. I want more bosses on the map, even Jules, Kit's shockwave launcher. Don't make them useless. But speaking of useless things, let's talk about the battle pass, okay? So they have an opportunity now to bring back something that is, honestly, I don't know how the community would feel about it, but I would love it if they reused the Ghost versus Shadow thing, or even just reworked it to some extent. Even if you want to do like an altar style versus ego style, I think that'd be a great way to tap into the Chapter 2 spirit while still changing the Ghost versus Shadow thing. Everyone was really against it at the beginning, like, oh my god, I can only unlock one style, stick with it forever, but I don't know, and I can't really put it into words. It's not even that it's exclusive, I just thought it was cool. Like, you had to pick one side, and you had to stick with that side. I don't know, I just thought it was a nice touch. So at the very least, I would like one skin, maybe a customizable skin, and that's something that I actually need to bring back too. I want them to utilize the Ghost versus Shadow thing in some way. I thought it was cool. I don't really have too much to expand upon that one, but a customizable skin is a must. Something like Maya, something that we've gotten like throughout the entirety of Chapter 2, even if it's Umbrella, maybe even a car, something to like move into Chapter 6 a little bit. I don't know, just give us something that's really customizable, something really worth grinding for, and something that's good, unlike the customizable things that we've had in more recent chapters. Now, Chapter 2 did it nice, give us like the Maya type thing, but regardless, there's something else that I really would like to see from OG Chapter 2, and I don't know if Epic Games would really be open to it because it's only a month long. It's a callback to the Battle Royale mostly, but I want them to bring back Operation Game Modes, or at the very least, I want them to bring back Operation Knockout. We know with the Marvel Knockout supposedly coming, or I don't know when you're watching this video, I'm recording it right before the update, so it might even be out right now. We know that they're open to bringing a knockout mode type back, so why not bring back something that everybody loved, that being the Operation Game Modes, especially Operation Knockout. I can't imagine it would take that much work. The LTM's already there, just fix the storm settings. I know I don't know what it's like to be a developer, honestly, I know, I completely understand, but it can't be in the grand scheme of things that difficult to bring back at least some little bit of LTMs. I would just like it if they actually brought back those Operation Game Modes. Now, something that's very personal to me, something that I've wanted the game forever, and I promise you I will not spend a lot of time yapping about it because I talk about it on the channel a lot. I want fishing to be as it was in Chapter 2. I miss fishing, and most importantly, Midas Flopper, Mythic Goldfish, bring them back. I will be fishing every single game, trying to get the 1 in a million chance of a fish. There is no reason as to why the Mythic Goldfish should not be in the loot pool. There's no reason why all of the fish shouldn't be in the loot pool. I want rip fish, I want shadowfish, I want all of the fish. I want fishing to be good again. Epic Games, it's ridiculous. Like, this does not hurt the game whatsoever to have the fish in the loot pool. Have them in the water. Nobody wants to fish anymore. Give me my harpoon gun. Give me my fishing rod. Let me go fishing. Let me have that chapter 2 experience. You know how much time I spent in chapter 2 fishing? My apologies. I'll stop there. There's another thing that I really don't want them to ruin, okay? Going back to kind of like what I was talking about, the bosses, the mythics, the vaults. I don't want them to also ruin vehicles, which they have done already. Revert them. I want the helicopters and the boats to be, and I don't recall actually, to be honest with you, if they did have fuel, but if they did, it was enough where you could just fly as you pleased. Remember the boat with Sky's infinite grappler, being able to just boost with the boat infinitely and you'd be flying around the sky? You want to talk about missing the magic of Fortnite? It's stuff like that. Fuel is one of the worst things that Epic Games has ever added to Fortnite. Maybe that make actually for a really good tier list one day, like the worst things in my opinion that Epic Games has ever done with the game, because I'm typically so positive about this. Fuel's up there. Battery, whatever you want to call it, I don't want any of it. I want to fly around with my helicopter as long as I want to. They're easy to shoot out, and I want to drive my boat for as long as I want to. I don't want to look at that and go, what's the point? That's not the Chapter 2 experience. That's not the OG Chapter 2 that I want to play, and I can't imagine that a lot of people would want to play. I don't know how the community feels about that, though, to be honest with you. If I had to guess, most people don't like the fuel, but it depends on what they're talking about, because people probably like it for things like the ballers. I'd love to know what you guys think about that in the comments down below, by the way. But guys, I do have some much more important points to talk about when it comes to OG Chapter 2, but I want to stop you for just a second because, of course, the season is coming up. New Battle Pass is coming up. I'll say this really quick, guys. As you might know, I started a family. I'm going really hard on YouTube trying to support the family. I've been spending so much money lately, so if you are not using a supporter creator code in the item shop, please consider using supporter creator code Clen in the item shop. As long as you're not using one, then I would suggest please consider using mine. It helps me out way more than you can absolutely know. I'm trying to keep my wife and my kid happy here at home. It's been beautiful. So those of you who are using the code, we have seen a boost and it does not go unnoticed. Thank you so much. But guys, let's continue on. Something particular that I would love to see from this season, okay? The Redacted bunker was one of the biggest missed opportunities Epic Games has ever had. If you want to change up the storyline, if you want to lean into Chapter 6 somehow, change the Redacted bunker. This is the opportunity to make the Redacted bunker good. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there was a bunker that was teased throughout the entirety of Chapter 2. It was closed. It was just Redacted. It was called Redacted. When you went in there, the map went Redacted. Everybody was speculating for so long what that could possibly be. What happens when it opens? When it opened at the end of the chapter, it was just a little IO base. One of the biggest disappointments we've ever seen from Epic Games was that Redacted bunker. This is the perfect opportunity to have it until the last week, still remaining redacted, and then open up and have something really heavy within the storyline related to it. This would make Fortnite storyline fans so happy, Epic Games, and to fix something that you have so clearly done wrong when it comes to the Fortnite storyline. Like, come on, like, I don't care, like, I respect the Fortnite storyline, everything Donald Mustard wrote about it, but that was one of the dumbest things they have ever had, is to not utilize that bunker. With the community speculating as much as they did, you changed the story for Tilted Towers and the rocket. Why can't you change the Redacted bunker after we've been talking about it for 2 years? Change it now. You have the perfect opportunity to do that. So, speaking a little bit more about the storyline, okay? I understand that this is going to lead into Chapter 6, the live event, and I understand that the live event will be mostly serving that purpose. I get that, okay? But at the very least, could you give us a little bit of a conclusion of the storyline? I'm not even saying, to be honest with you, you need to like go as deep as you could possibly get with it. Just do something to make the storyline fans happy. The live events were primarily for that. We've been starved and kept away from live events for so long. The mini events have been great, but the end event in OG Chapter 1 was such a big disappointment. It wasn't a disappointment to me because I didn't expect anything to come from it, and I'm still not expecting anything from this event, to be honest with you. But you can make a tease or an ad for whatever you want to do while still having the storyline intact. You rush the beginning to the end. I'll use this as an example, okay? We saw the rocket go off and then just explode again. Like, that was it. Like, it was super quick. You had the countdown, gone. The storyline was over, and then we were at an ad. You can combine that and still have like a conclusion of Jones's storyline. You could have a conclusion where Jones switches off with Hope or something, and Hope is now the main character of Fortnite. Just give us something of substance to follow, because obviously Epic Games and Charlie Wen still cares about the Fortnite storyline. Like, I say that, and I mean, like, it's still present and they're working on it. It's not like, oh, here's some slop for the storyline. They're developing a story and they're doing a good job with it. It's not as prominent, but they still do care about it to some extent. I don't think it's asking a lot for a fan, and I don't think it's nearly impossible to do to just intertwine that somehow, and I really hope that Epic Games learned from last time, but I don't think that they did, and I'm not going to be looking forward to this live event, to be honest. I'm just going to take whatever we get, and I'm going to enjoy the live event. But think about it, like, I talked about in another video of how Jones' story could finally conclude, and maybe Jones will end up dying, and then we'll go take the Chapter 2 Jones, the upbeat and happy Jones, and then we're going to take off with that new Jones into Chapter 6. Something like that. Give us a 1 to 2 minute cutscene. Something like that. I'm sure that they could spare the resources for this one time a year for a live event. I don't see why not. I hate to be this guy. I hate to say this, okay, because it's so overused, but Epic Games is a $1 billion company. I think they can afford to make us a couple cutscenes for us. They don't even have to do anything spectacular. Make a cutscene. That's it. It's not difficult to make the storyline fans happy. So to me, to be honest with you, that is actually quite important. That's something that I would love to see, is a conclusion to this story that we've been having throughout the entirety of Chapter 5, if we do not already have that in Marvel season. I just hope it's intertwined somehow, but I know people are going to be a little bit upset about this one. I know. I think it's very important, though, throughout this month, because it's going to be a whole month long, and it's going to be primarily focused on Battle Royale, primarily focused on OG Chapter 2. I don't think it's a good idea for Epic Games to also take that and abandon all of the new modes that they've been working on. I'm not saying that they're planning on doing this, but I think that they give us our content, they have it all planned out, it's going to be a blast. I think it's important that they don't just leave Festival, Rocket Racing, Lego, and Reload, and whatever else they want to bring. I think it's important that they still continue to work on that, maybe even give them, like, just one update. The development's been going so nicely for them, and I would really not like to see, what I wouldn't like to see is for those players who are still enjoying, like, Lego Fortnite right now, to just have a halt of content for a month just for the fans to enjoy Chapter 2. Epic Games is turning Fortnite into something bigger than just a Battle Royale, and there are really dedicated Lego fans, Festival fans, not so much Rocket Racing fans, but they do exist, but you understand my point. I hope Epic Games, like, for example, keep switching up the loot pool in Fortnite Reload. Just little things. I want them to keep focusing on the metaverse a little bit. I want them to just not abandon it. It's kind of like the different the different kind of argument that we've been having over here, because everybody's always talking about not abandoning Battle Royale, but I think it's important that they don't abandon the metaverse just for this month that we have going on over here. Of course, Battle Royale should be the primary focus because that's what Chapter 2 was. I just don't think it'd be a good idea, and I wouldn't like that for the Lego fans or any of the game mode fans that we have going on over here. I don't think it's a good idea for Epic Games to also abandon them. Now, there is one thing that, guys, I have to ask of you for the players. There is one thing that you need to do, because there's a lot that we talked about that Epic Games needs to do. Tease us at the beginning of the video. There is one thing that the players need to do. It's keep your expectations in check for this. Listen, I know that everybody has had some of their greatest memories throughout Chapter 2 Season 2. In Chapter 2 in general, but more specifically Chapter 2 Season 2. It's going to be very difficult and, to be honest with you, nearly impossible for Epic Games to beat Lockdown Fortnite. Just like we talk about Prime Fortnite. Did OG beat Prime Fortnite? No. Was it fun? Absolutely. It's going to feel a little bit like that. If you are coming here and expecting to have the time of your life, everybody's going to be at home, everybody's going to hop on the game with you, all of your friends are going to want to play. None of that might be the case, because when Chapter 2 Season 2 was out, the world was in a very, very special place that's not going to be replicated. You're not going to have those just chill vibes, listening to music, and just absolutely no responsibilities, people being off work, people being off school. That's not going to exist for this. So you need to have your expectations in check. While the season is going to be phenomenal, it's going to be great, but you can't expect to have that same relaxed, happy, fun, laughing feeling that you've had with your friends. I personally don't believe that people are going to flock back to this game just like they did for OG Chapter 1. Chapter 2 doesn't have that much of a pull. Chapter 2 has some very, very dedicated fans, and there absolutely will be people coming back to it. But I think it is incredibly important that you just keep your expectations in check, because you have the potential right now to relive something that was, in my opinion, peak Fortnite. We just took a look at SypherPK's video. What was Prime Fortnite? It was Chapter 2 Season 2 to Chapter 2 Season 4. You have the opportunity to relive this right now. Don't set your expectations too high. Don't expect the best live event in the world. Just expect the great content and enjoy what you get. Understand that your friends might not come back. Understand that it's just not going to feel the same as lockdown. It's not going to be replicated. I'm personally going to have a blast on it. I cannot wait to play this, okay? But I understand it's not going to have that same feeling. If you go into it with that mindset, you are going to have more fun than you could ever imagine in Fortnite OG Chapter 2. Guys, the content talking about these seasons don't necessarily have to stop there though, because I have 2 videos for you to check out. One taking a look at SypherPK's video dissecting what exactly was Prime Fortnite, and another video right here talking about the storyline with John Jones and the possibilities for how his story is going to conclude. I would love to have you guys in either one of those videos. Thank you for being here. Take care, everybody.